Hello, hello, and welcome to the Telescope Show. We laugh, we discover God, and we totally nerd out. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson.
And I am Katie Seipel Anderson.
And I am jazzed to be with you once again.
Jazzed.
Hey, have you ever heard of jazzercise?
I picture like one-piece jumpsuits when I hear jazzercised.
Oh yeah, I picture my elementary gymnasium where my gym teacher, who wore like a windsuit.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. I can like hear the...
Yep, a 90s windsuit, and she made us jam out to jazzercise and exercise, and that's why I'm the fine physical specimen you see before you.
That's why you're jazzed tonight. Well, tomorrow morning for the rest of you, but tonight for us.
Well, today on the show, we're not talking about jazzercise. We're talking about the Rings of Power. And I'm very glad we're doing a follow-up episode because now I feel like we finally have all the characters, all the pieces that we're going to see put into motion over the rest of these episodes. And I'm excited. I'm jazzed. I'm pumped.
But before we talk about that, because that's going to take the majority of our show, did you know that in addition to shooting the series, Amazon plans to release behind-the-scenes featurettes?
Hey!
Your favorite.
I love all that stuff.
I know you do.
So happy to hear that. That's good news. That deserves a round of applause, I think.
And as a follow-up to what you were saying before about New Zealand and their tourism, the company is also going to provide New Zealand with 6 60 to 90-second videos to use for promoting tourism.
Way to go, New Zealand.
And they're going to credit the country in the opening credits as the shooting location.
Cool. That's it. Let's get our tickets. Well, Katie, did you know that the Telescope Show is going to be live at Twin Cities Con on November 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Minneapolis Convention Center.
I did know that. But did you know that it's going to actually have some real...
Celebrities,
but I just feel bad calling them real celebrities because then that assumes that there's some fake celebrities out there.
Maybe more notable celebrities than other conventions.
Celebrities. I had read someplace that Brendan Fraser is going to be there, and he's kind of been all over the news recently.
Yeah, he made a huge comeback with a new movie he has out. And yeah, Brendan Fraser in the flesh. There he is, right on the website.
Maybe you'll get to meet him.
Perhaps.
I bet you could at least wave at him from a distance.
Could we record the air movement of his wave and put it on the show? And I could say we had
a moment.
A moment. Here's my moment with Brendan Fraser.
Well, did you know, and maybe Brendan Fraser knows this, I don't know, but did you know that Amazon, there's been some talk, at least, about Amazon potentially doing some other new series related to Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power? Like such as an audiobook, a video game, collector's edition trilogies, that kind of stuff. Apparently those are all in talks right now, although nothing's in stone.
So this would be, if I'm understanding right, this would be the content from the show put into a novel format, maybe a comic book format, and then released that way. That's a pretty common thing. That'd be cool.
A video game too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can see that happening. I did also read that The Stranger, that actor, someone did an interview with, and he revealed to his viewers that you won't learn of his true intentions or his true nature this season at all. We'll have to wait till a future season to learn that.
You know what I have to say to that?
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, it kind of made him more intriguing to me, though, because I'll be honest, I kind of just assumed that he was just going to be the wizard. But then when it says, like, you're not going to learn his true intentions, it makes you wonder.
It would be pretty cool if they had some really big unexpected twists around that character. That would be cool. That'd be worth waiting for.
It'd be worth waiting for. And now I think I'm going to, like, probably read into everything that happens. Because now he's like a friend to the Harfoots and helping them along, but he still killed all those fireflies.
It's true. It's true. The future is very uncertain at this point.
At least with the stranger.
Yes. Well, that's a perfect segue to talk about Rings of Power, and we're going to try to predict the future a little bit. To recap, we've got the elves trying to forge an alliance with the dwarves because they want to make a super forge for making Rings of Power. The humans are leaderless. The elves have just withdrawn their military forces, but the humans are also under attack in the Southlands by the forces of Sauron. The Númenóreans have mostly severed ties with the elves and are fearing some dark prophecy that apparently Galadriel has
fulfilled
by showing up, yeah. And the Harfoots are migrating and harboring and helping the mysterious Meteor Man, a.k.a. the Stranger. So that's pretty much where we are with all of our characters, or all of our main groups or our storylines. So, one of the most interesting characters is the Queen Regent Miriel, who is sort of the stand-in queen for the Númenóreans.
See, I didn't find her super interesting. I thought it was at the end when she was talking to someone, I'm assuming her father or something, about like the prophecy and the elf. The elf has come. That's where it got interesting to me. Otherwise, she just kind of seemed like a snobbish queen who didn't like elves.
I think I like her because she's a fresh character, and I don't really know what they're going to do with her. If I had to predict something, I would predict she's going to die because of some kind of political intrigue involving the elf lovers and the elf haters.
That's kind of a bleak prediction.
Yeah, a lot of my predictions today are basically going to be they die.
Well, I mean, how are you feeling today, Matt?
I could use a word of encouragement. I could just use some happy thoughts being sent my way.
Let me just tell you that the good guys win in the end.
Which definitely gives me a sense of hope. In the end, it's this, like, humble goodness that triumphs. There's this classic verse in the Bible that Jesus said, the meek shall inherit the earth. And think about J.R.R. Tolkien stories. Who's more meek than the hobbits, the Harfoots? And it's that almost naive love and goodness that in the end is able to triumph over all the craftiness and all the plans and all the grandeur of evil. Doesn't that just seem like the Lord's way?
It feels good.
How about Durin the Third? He is the young dwarf who is friends with Elrond. Kind of frenemies at this point, but
they're getting I'd say they're solidly friends again.
Yeah, they're warming up.
Oh, I did read a fun fact about him. I know we're not in our Did You Know part anymore, but apparently it took 3 hours for him to do his makeup for this.
Ooh.
That's what I think about him.
I imagine he has a lot of prosthetic stuff glued to his body. A lot of hair, a lot of fake hair. Or maybe it's real hair. You should donate some of your hair to the dwarfs. They could make costumes out of it. Katie has really curly hair. She actually has amazing hair. I love your hair.
Oh, thanks.
But we never see elves with curly hair.
My hair and I are frenemies.
But we never see elves with curly hair. But the dwarves.
The dwarves have curly. Are you calling me a dwarf?
No, I'm just saying the dwarves could use your beautiful hair, and then that's it. That's.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
I think
Okay.
It's time to move on.
How about this character named Arondir? That is the elf, sort of the rank and file elf soldier who has been captured. Do you think he'll live?
I think he's gonna live for longer. They've had him alive too long to just like kill him off. I'm a little more interested in the character that he met. Like, is that Sauron? Or
at the very end.
At the very end, he meets like a mysterious character, but not the stranger, a different mysterious character.
It's a character they call Adar.
And who's they? They didn't. Not
the
show.
the orcs called him Adar.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did. And
Oh.
they were very reverent of him.
Yeah, so apparently they brought the elf to him. And so I'm more interested to see what's going to go, where that storyline's going to go.
And we don't know much about this mysterious villain character. My first thought was, oh, maybe that's Sauron. But after thinking about it some more and reading what some other people have written, I don't think it is. It wouldn't make sense to put Sauron digging tunnels with the orcs, right? Like, he's too high and mighty to do that. So this individual must be some kind of a mid-level management evil guy.
That does, and they showed his face right away. I feel like with Sauron, they would reveal him in a bigger way.
Yeah, I agree. There's got to be a more momentous reveal for him. I think that Arondir is going to live. I think he's going to live through the whole show.
Really? The whole show
Yep.
even? I don't know. I could see himself like sacrificing himself for the humans or something like that too. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could see that too. We really have no idea. But just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say...
Or his love interest will die or something. There seemed to be some foreshadowing of that ending in tragedy.
I agree. You know what? Maybe they'll both die. Let's go full bleak here.
Yeah, I'm done with the bleak. How about we move on to different characters?
I think he's going to live, but I think he'll be separated from his love by some kind of tragic circumstance. Actually, I think in the near future, there's going to be some really fun, kind of a love triangle, but not your traditional romantic love triangle. I think it's going to be a love triangle between him and the healer and the healer's son. Because the healer's son has that Morgul blade that he's fascinated by. And so it's going to be like the elf's going to be all freaked out about that sword, and the kid's going to be like, hey, I don't like you, you're an elf. And the mom's going to be like, hey, I like both you guys, I don't want you to fight, love my kid. You know what I mean? That could be like a really great bit of conflict.
It could be. Well, you've like mapped that whole thing out. Are you writing for them now?
Shh. I can neither confirm nor deny such rumors.
I think you could deny it pretty solidly.
Yeah, I could deny it pretty solidly. How about Gil-galad, the regal elf lord?
The Elven Lord?
The Elven Lord.
I kind of think he's going to die.
I agree. I think he's going down with the ship because his land...
Not literal ship because he's on land.
Correct. His figurative ship.
I mean, there's ships in this series, so you got to be a little careful with what you're saying.
I think that when his kingdom is sacked, he's going to go in the sack with the kingdom.
Translation, you think he's going to die.
Correct. So, there's another character that I think is full of possibilities, and I have a theory about him. The character is Halbrand. He is the human who has ended up with Galadriel and is in Numenor.
He is an interesting character.
He is of a kingly line.
He is of a kingly line, and he also obviously has a bit of a temper that, like, causes him to hurt people.
So he's a wild card. Is he going to progress in a more noble way and embrace...
his kingliness?
Yeah, his kingliness. Or is he going to go to the dark side?
Or is he going to just remain neutral? Just look after himself like he has been.
I think he is going to become a king and eventually become one of Sauron's ring wraiths.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think he's going to be seduced by the power, and his darker tendencies are going to be exploited by the ring, and he's going to
Along with Isildur, isn't that one of them? Isn't he the one that like cut off the finger of Sauron, but then he didn't destroy the ring?
Yeah, in a sense, yes.
Maybe they'll be buddies. I mean, do ring wraiths have buddies? They seemed kind of close.
They're kind of
in packs.
They have like a ring wraiths only bowling league that they were actually a part of.
Moving on.
How about Celebrimbor? This is another wild card. You could probably read into the Tolkien's notes and figure out what happens to him, but I have no clue.
I think he's going to be a little disappointed in what happens with his noble creation.
I think you're right. I think he's going to feel the sting of betrayal. Maybe he'll be sort of a whistleblower, because in the Lord of the Rings, the 3 rings that are created for the elves are not corrupted like the other rings are, but the Ring of Power is able to discover their location. And there was speculation that once the Ring of Power was destroyed, that those rings would also lose their power. So they're sort of tied together. And I don't know how they're going to set that all up. But I could see Celebrimbor creating his vision and creating his rings of power, and then realizing that maybe his technology has been stolen, or like his magic formula or whatever has been stolen. Maybe he's sort of a whistleblower that will help the good guys get up on their feet and get moving. That's my prediction.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuances right now that we have really no idea what's going to happen.
So those are the characters that I have down. There are other characters, other minor characters, but it's fun to speculate what's going to happen in the future.
And in this show, we're seeing some kind of cool alliances, character developments, friendship developments, and those are really what really help carry you through life to encourage you and help guide you towards the right way.
And the show also depicts a world that is beautiful and amazing and worth fighting for. And the good in the world is worth fighting for and worth the sacrifice. And I think that's analogous to the real world also. And speaking of relationships and people, we have a special guest that's going to be on the show next week, but we're not going to spoil it. He's kind of a big deal. So tune in to that.
It's not Brendan Fraser, guys. I'm sorry. But it might be as cool as that, depending on what you're into.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, thank you so much for listening. We love you. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.